If you've been trying to keep up with California's e-bike laws, you're definitely not alone. Just when it looked like everyone understood the latest proposals, lawmakers went back and changed them again. Some rules became less strict, others got expanded, and a few completely disappeared. So if you own an e-bike, plan to buy one, or sell them, here's what actually changed, what stayed the same, and what it all means in simple English. Before we get into the details, here's the important part. California currently has two major e-bike bills moving through the legislature, AB 2346 and SB 1167. Both have already been rewritten several times during June and July, which is why you may have seen conflicting information online. AB 2346 mostly focuses on rider information, future equipment requirements, speed limits on sidewalks and bike paths, and what sellers need to tell buyers. SB 1167 is much broader. It focuses on how California classifies e-bikes, electric motorcycles, and mopeds, while also introducing new battery safety and labeling requirements. Meanwhile, two other proposals that got plenty of attention earlier this year are basically on hold. The statewide license plate proposal for e-bikes and the controversial 250-watt 16-mile-per-hour bill haven't moved forward. So right now, the real attention is on AB 2346 and SB 1167. Let's start with AB 2346, because this bill actually became a little less aggressive after lawmakers revised it. One of the biggest changes involves speedometers. Earlier versions required future Class 1 and Class 2 e-bikes sold from 2029 onward to include a speedometer. Now that requirement only applies to new Class 2 e-bikes, which are the throttle-assisted models limited to 20 miles per hour. Lighting requirements also became a little more flexible. Instead of forcing manufacturers to install a permanently integrated front light, the bill now allows either an integrated light or a detachable one. Bikes would still need a white front light and a red rear light beginning in 2029, but manufacturers now have more freedom in how they design them. Another major change affects the buying process. Instead of placing California's e-bike safety information inside the box after purchase, sellers would now provide that information at or before checkout. Buyers would receive details like the bike's class, top speed, continuous and peak motor power, helmet and age requirements, California's e-bike laws, links to CHP safety training, and a warning explaining that modifying an e-bike beyond its legal speed could trigger licensing, registration, and insurance requirements. Perhaps the biggest surprise is the penalty reduction. Earlier drafts proposed civil penalties reaching up to $15,000 for a first violation and $50,000 for later violations. Those massive fines are gone. Instead, violations now follow a much smaller system of fines, starting at up to $500 for a first offense, increasing to $750 for a second offense within 3 years, and up to $1,000 for repeated violations. Another area that continues to evolve is how fast riders can travel in certain locations. Cities and counties would still be allowed to set 15 miles per hour or 20 miles per hour limits on bike paths and multi-use trails. Even slower 10 miles per hour zones would also be allowed, but only in places with heavy pedestrian traffic or limited visibility, and those areas would have to be clearly marked with signs. One proposal that generated a lot of discussion involved riders under 16 years old. Earlier drafts suggested a mandatory 15 miles per hour speed limit for younger riders. That requirement has now changed. Instead of becoming a legal speed limit, the bill would simply require sellers to recommend that riders under 16 stay at or below 15 miles per hour when purchasing an e-bike. So it shifts from being an enforceable restriction to more of a safety recommendation. The sidewalk rule, however, remains. If local signs establish a 10 miles per hour sidewalk speed limit, riders could still receive a citation for exceeding it. The good news is that this violation would not add DMV points to your driving record. Now let's move on to SB 1167, which actually became much larger after lawmakers rewrote it. This bill is mainly focused on separating traditional e-bikes from higher-powered electric vehicles like mopeds and off-road electric motorcycles. One of the biggest additions involves battery safety. Manufacturers would need to certify that batteries meet recognized electrical safety standards. Chargers would also have to comply with those same safety requirements and be compatible with the battery or vehicle they're designed for. The bill also creates a new paperwork requirement. Manufacturers, importers, distributors, and retailers would all have to keep records proving that batteries and chargers meet those required safety standards. Vehicles themselves would also need a permanent visible label identifying the safety standard they comply with. Rental companies would eventually have to follow these requirements as well, although those rules wouldn't begin until 2028. Another notable change is what lawmakers removed. Earlier drafts included additional false advertising penalties for companies that improperly marketed certain vehicles as e-bikes. That extra section has now been deleted, although California's existing rules against falsely labeling vehicles as e-bikes would still remain. Finally, the bill replaces much of the older motorized bicycle terminology with the more consistent term moped, making the legal language much easier to follow. The biggest takeaway here is that California isn't finished yet. Neither AB 2346 nor SB 1167 has become law, and both are still moving through the legislative process. As we've already seen, lawmakers have rewritten parts of these bills multiple times in just a few weeks, meaning future amendments could change things yet again. If you already own a legal e-bike, nothing changes today. But if you're planning to buy, sell, rent, or manufacture electric bikes in California, these proposals are definitely worth watching. We'll continue following every update, so if these bills change again, and at this point they probably will, you'll know exactly what's different without having to read hundreds of pages of legislative text. So that is all we know so far. Let us know your thoughts in the comments if you enjoyed this video. Hit like and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.